to make is that the process of refinancing one's underlying mortgage can take 60 to 90 days. So it's recommended that you keep track of the maturity date of the underlying mortgage so as to leave adequate time to be able to receive pricing from your existing lender, as well as to obtain competitive bids from other lenders. And the person responsible for refinancing the underlying mortgage should check on prepayment penalties and when those penalties are eliminated, if at all. Generally, within 30 to 90 days prior to maturity, the prepayment penalty is waived. So it's important to know the specific timing for providing the maximum time to refinance without penalty. Next, to review with the other board members the potential capital maintenance projects that the building may need over the next few years. Refinancing your underlying mortgages represent the cheapest way of getting financing. So it is better to take advantage of the fact that you are going to refinance your underlying mortgage and consider future maintenance projects, capital maintenance projects. And a selfish plug, it is recommended to retain a financial advisor, a mortgage broker, to assist you in the process. One of the reasons is that we as professional advisors undertaking numerous transactions often will be able to receive better pricing than a co-op approaching to a lender directly, only on doing this on a once every 10-year type basis.
And I think the market as a whole was able to get a lot done. And I was personally surprised how much we were able to mitigate, especially for cooperatives, against the loss of commercial income or any sort of professional space income in buildings. I think in general, cooperatives and condominiums for that matter are in an extremely safe position when lending, given that cooperatives tend to only be borrowing for capital improvements and therefore are inherently just not borrowing exorbitant amount of money. So most commercial real estate, when someone owns a rental building, for instance, they're looking to borrow anywhere from 60 to 70%, maybe 80% of the value of the building. Cooperatives are usually borrowing sub 30% of the value of the building, if not closer to 2% or 3%. So we're really in a lucky position from that standpoint. I think where we're headed, obviously I don't have a crystal ball, but it's probably the question that everyone wants to know is, it seems like we're going up. We've only trended up since last March, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. There's people in the market who believe, just listening to kind of Bloomberg News in the morning, that the 10-year Treasury is going towards the 2% mark, and some people believe we're going to go back down to 1.25%. Personally, I think we're headed more towards a 2% rate. And because of that, we've been seeing a lot of people who didn't kind of jump off the financing fence last year, kind of step up to the plate this year. So we're seeing just a lot of activity, a lot of just questions from borrowers saying, hey, is now the best time? So that's really what's going on. As far as building needs, it would appear to me and to the bank that buildings obviously keep getting older, especially in New York City. A lot of the housing stock is from the early 1900s, and we're reaching 100-year-old buildings, and local laws keep coming out in the city and keep making the buildings spend money. So we don't see anything really slowing this down. And obviously the cost of living in the tri-state area just keeps going up. Utilities keep getting more expensive. So buildings tend to just need more money.
Performing an analysis of the various mortgage terms was a full-time job with a lot of overtime, and need I say, no compensation. It is truly an apples to oranges evaluation, as lenders employ their own spin on each comparative factor. When we had finally decided that NCB would provide the best option for our particular situation, including the 15-year term we had wanted in order to limit the associated expenses involved in refinancing. And I might add here that NCB did not inform us that there would be a pandemic in 9 years and interest rates would be more favorable in 2021 at our 10-year mark. I can't say that deciding on a lender is the end of the fun. Thank heaven for corporate attorneys who were so instrumental in locating all the documentation required for closing. The real nail biter for me was deciding the date to lock in the rate. You become frozen with the anxiety that the rate will drop after you lock, so much so that pulling that trigger becomes a monumental task. NCB's Sheldon Gartenstein, with whom I worked closely during the entire process, wisely told me to never look at rates again after the lock date. And that was very good advice.